Which one is Zack Schneider?
Uh, Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like that guy. All right. He didn't he also do
He did
Watchmen?
300. He did Watchmen.
But I liked the Watchmen a lot.
Watchmen was really good. That is one movie where there is no reason not to like it.
I feel like if you're just a big fat nerd, that might be a reason to like it because you'd be like, it wasn't anything with the comic book. But otherwise, I don't see a reason to really to
I
hate it at
like the
all.
direction it took over the comic book. I'll even go that far. I'll subject myself to that hatred.
Have you seen this picture where they photoshopped Jim Carrey's face on Superman?
No, but you're giving me a bunch of fucking stuff to put in the video.
You don't have to put all these in the video unless
No,
you really.
I'm gonna do it because it's all good stuff. It's all funny stuff.
Zach Galifianakis as Spider-Man. That one, I would watch that movie any damn day of the week.
As long as he dies,
As long as Zach Galifianakis dies, or as long as Spider-Man dies.
both. Can they die together?
Uh,
That's taking two of what I feel are two of the most overhyped things in their respective fields and making them
what do you
one.
think is Zach Galifianakis' respected field? Is it comedy or movies?
I
Because
would put him as comedy.
I feel like he's honestly an underrated comedian, but he's an overrated actor.
I think maybe then I'm just friends with people that like him a ton because I remember
I've
watching.
never met anybody who really enjoyed his stand-up and wasn't just like, I watched The Hangover and then went back to watch his stand-up and he's so funny. I've been following him since he fucking started.
Oh, dude, now you sound like a huge fucking hipster.
I know. I'm definitely not one of those though, but still.
My big thing with him was I remember there was a special of his that they had on Netflix, and it was like an evening with Zach Galifianakis, and the whole thing was him sitting down at a piano doing his comedy and telling stories and all that. And I remember watching it, and everybody I was with was going nuts at how funny they thought it was. And I'll admit, he had some jokes that were really good, but he had other parts that just it seemed like for the room as a whole, it was a home run. But for me and usually one other person in the room, it was nothing.
I feel like you're like that though. Like when people are laughing around you, you just refuse to like anything.
Um,
Like it just seems like that based on other stories you told me about your life.
I think that's also just because we like a lot of very different things.
It's not even that. Like I know that we like different like facets of comedy. Like you've shown me some goofy shit that I just don't like. But also, you've told me stories about things that clearly seem like the comedy for you, but since other people were showing you them and you didn't figure out about it on your own, you were just like, it's not very good. And also, eventually, fuck it. Like I hate it.
I can't. Can you give me an example of that?
Um, I can't remember the specific story, but I remember you telling me something about how like I remember like Trailer Park Boys at one point you were talking to me about how you thought it was okay and then Alex was just laughing the whole fucking time and then you just immediately started to like hate it and then at this point you just hate the fucking show because of what you know about it at this point.
That's less of what I know about it and more just because I'm one of the kinds of people where fans of something can make me hate the subject. And Trailer Park Boys was one of those things, because as I started to talk more about it with other people, they were like, how can you not get this? How can you not think it's funny, you fucking stupid? It's like, no, I'm not.
The fact that people call you stupid for not liking something that they like when it's clearly like, when what they're, if they're not joking, like when they're just, all up in your face, like, are you a fucking retard? Because I'll be that way sometimes where I'm just like, are you fucking stupid?
I'll be that way too.
I'll be like,
I will.
totally joking about something. I will not be serious because, not everybody has the same opinion. And if you don't want to talk about it, then don't talk about it. I don't care. But, shit.
I just remember one thing that, like
have you seen Tropic Thunder?
I have seen Tropic Thunder.
The movie is overrated, but it's still a pretty good movie. But at this point, the amount of people I've known to talk about it have totally made me not care for it as much as I think it could have been badass. Like
I just got tired of people talking about Robert Downey Jr. as a black guy was so good. Robert Downey Jr. does a good job almost all the time.
This thing actually that kind of relates to this. What I'm about to show you. War Machine's a black guy.
Yeah.
They photoshopped in Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder in the War Machine costume, standing next to himself as Iron Man, and this picture is just fucking good as hell.
God damn it.
I love that shit so much. It's so good.
Oh fucking god, it's clever, but at the same time, who has the time?
Actually, it's like every once in a while there are contests on the internet for like the worst this or the best this, and this was a worst. These are the worst possible superhero castings. Jack Black was Thor at one of these pictures. I didn't feel like it was worth showing, but it was funny.
It's not worth showing. It's not. Mostly, it's not because of Jack Black. It's because of Thor. He's one of my least favorites.
Honestly, a lot of people don't like Thor, but I like the comics a lot of the time. Like at least these newer ones, I totally like. I've kind of fallen off of reading them, but it's mostly. I don't want to sound like one of those douchebags that really likes Loki, but in this particular instance, Loki was fucking awesome because every single failure he had ever that had ever happened upon him, like every single thing that he'd ever done where he failed, was totally planned out for this particular event after Ragnarok.
You're getting into crazy specifics that no one listening to this is probably going to get. Would you elaborate a little bit?
Well, like as far as like Ragnarok is concerned, in Norse mythos, Ragnarok is the end of the world. It's when the wolf that Loki has command over eats the moon or something like that, and it eventually eats like the whole world. But all in the comic books that didn't happen. It's just that Ragnarok kind of just kicked the shit out of where did the gods live? I can't remember.
Isn't it Asgard?
Asgard, yeah, Asgard. It just like kicks the shit out of everything in there, and they all have to come back as different people. And that's where these newer comics start. They start off where Thor has to come back and get all the gods back because all the gods have been reborn as humans for the most part, and he has to kind of he has to separate the human from the god. And Loki came back as a lady, but it was like a trick. But he ends up going back in time to tell himself to like fake being helpless as a child so that the Asgardians will adopt him. And it's so crazy because like he talks about how like all his failures were just leading up to this, like so that no one would expect him to have like a fucking badass plan.
That kind of
There's like no holes in it. It's ridiculous.
that kind of actually leads into another like strange duality in stuff that I like versus stuff that I hate, and how they will like cross a lot of the time. And that's that most of the time I don't like time travel. I don't like time travel, especially when it's something that's.
As long as you like Back to the Future, we're fine.
I'm okay with Back to the Future. That's one of the instances where it crosses. But I also like the idea of Back to the Future because it takes into account repercussions of stuff. That's one of the reasons why time travel bugs me, because a lot of shows don't seem to do that. But as much as I don't like time travel and as much as I like Back to the Future, one of my favorite books is The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. And that is nothing but time travel. That's all it is, and it's one of my favorite books.
You also seem to like Doctor Who, at least the early stuff, pretty good.
I really like Doctor Who, but I always felt like Doctor Who was less. I mean, it is time travel. Everything he does is time travel. I just considered it less time travel because in the beginning they offer you this main character that feels like he's outside of space and time, or at least isn't affected by it the same way that we are.
Yeah, because he's a time lord and shit.
Exactly. So I was definitely able to accept the time travel in that more because like, oh, he's the Doctor. I can't even explain it. I can't even understand it. He's just the Doctor. He's good. The Doctor is really good.
Doc Brown,
especially before. But the Time Machine. I just want to talk about that for a second. That is a super, super good book. Have you seen the movie or read the book?
No.
Oh man, so good.
It's not that I don't like. I keep meaning to read a lot of stuff, but I just don't make time for myself to do it. Like I've been meaning to read John Dies at the End, but I still haven't read that either.
I've heard good things.
It's nothing but a badass book, apparently.
But
I'm more of like a. I guess I'm more of a movie dork because every time I hear something about a movie, I'm like, yes. So good at driving.
Seriously, that was